Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Mikki. Your girl hasn't filmed again for another 3 months. What's new though? You know, whatever. You might see a little bit of like change in the background. I actually redid my entire office into kind of like a studio aesthetics practice situation. I really like it. It's very like zen vibes here. Only good energies. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. It took a couple months, but I kind of got everything. I'm working with some new lighting, so if it's weird, just let me know. I just got a couple soft boxes and some really like nice soft lighting lights. Oh, what are those called? Yeah, so I got a couple soft boxes and a couple lights just to kind of make the room lighting a little bit more like soft and natural and also brighten it up. But what's new? Well, as many of you probably know, I had VSG. Finally, like I finally got there. How long have I been talking about this freaking surgery? Forever. But I had VSG. Oops, I dropped that. And she's been a doozy. Yeah. So I had some sister surgery. I'm sorry. I'm so goofy right now. I'm not even on pills anymore, hydrocodone. That makes me sound like a drug addict. No, I was on hydrocodone for like almost the first 2 weeks and never doing that again. I was not a fan of hydrocodone and what it did to me and my body and my emotions. But anyways, so I had the surgery. Let me kind of run you guys through what happened. Where we kind of left off was that I was getting ready to submit to insurance, and literally the exact worst thing that I had talked about possibly happening actually was worse than what I had assumed. In our last video, I had talked about like submitting to insurance and they can deny you and then you have to appeal the process. I submitted to insurance. It was taking forever. Like it was 2 weeks, no word yet. So I called them and I got it denied immediately. Basically, the hospital that I had previously been at had forgotten to check like a couple things way back in November of 2018 when I started the program. It's my insurance requires a bariatric Optum Center of Excellence, and the hospital that I had taken the entire program from was just a Center of Excellence, and an Optum Center of Excellence is another special tier. So everything that I had done was basically null and void per my insurance. And like when I found that out, girl, I was so upset. It's pretty understandable considering like I had been going through the 6-month program, you know, a 2-part psych eval, multiple EKGs, so many blood tests, and to go through all of that. And I love the fact my neighbor just started mowing. That's really cool. But yeah, I gone through all of this testing, and then to find out that like I wasn't approved was obviously pretty much devastating. I did not plan on that and was not happy, obviously. So basically what happened was I had to find another hospital that would take me, and that was another journey within itself. Basically, like the only hospital that's an Optum Center of Excellence would be the only hospital that's an Optum Center of Excellence in Kansas or Missouri is over yonder in St. Louis, hours away. I live in KC, so that wasn't feasible. Or Menorah Hospital. But originally when I contacted this hospital, Menorah, they said that they could not take my program, meaning I would have to start over. And insurance is like, no, we're not going to pay for you to go through the program again. So I was like, so what am I going to do? And so I had to call. It was actually really tricky. I had to call, I think I called like 20-something surgeons that did not work at Menorah, but like they were not employed by Menorah, but they performed surgery at Menorah. And make sure that they were covered in my insurance. They were in the Optum Center of Excellence program, and that they would take my previous program since Menorah wouldn't. And finally, I found a surgeon at the bariatrics, what was it called? Overland Park General and Bariatric Surgery, and they took me. So relieved, only to find out when I got there that actually, while they would take my program, my surgeon wanted to see me for 2 months before he would submit me to surgery, which sucked, but whatever. I mean, we're already here. What's another 2 months? So I met with my surgeon, really great guy, his name's Dr. Cummings, and he put me on a 1 month just like controlled diet to see how I did, and he wanted me to, you know, talk about everything that I ate and write it down and everything that I drank and the type of exercise I did, very similar to the program I was already in. And after I did that for a month, he wanted to meet one more time, and then he submitted me to surgery after I completed everything. Now, while I say that my doctor, and I'm just being honest, everything that I'm about to say, I feel that it is vitally important to be your own advocate, especially in the healthcare community, because while I do believe that doctors and nurses do have your best interests in mind most of the time, there are many times that things fall through the cracks because, you know, they're never going to be as invested as you are. I can't speak for everyone. I can only speak from my experience on that. But the first time that I met my nurses, they were supposed to have submitted me to insurance by a certain date. And when I called after 2 weeks and I hadn't heard anything, and this is at the new hospital, they were very rude to me. I mean, I don't get offended easily by people and the way that they treat me. I think how people behave is always a reflection of themselves and never you. But unfortunately, it caused delays that were just unnecessary, and they were not willing to speak with me about it. Basically, when my old hospital sent over all of my paperwork, they didn't read my paperwork correctly and thought I had to redo the program, even though my surgeon had read the paperwork correctly. So they just made an appointment for me to come in for my first visit for their new 6-month program and never submitted me to insurance. And I literally had to call them 8 times, call my old hospital, have them refax everything all over again, call them 3 more times, call the triage nurse, and then eventually I had to call the patient advocate at the hospital and have the patient advocate walk to my department and look at the paperwork and show them that my client file showed in all of my notes everything that I needed for this program. And there was no apology, and it wasn't just that they made a mistake. They treated me like I had no idea what the hell I was talking about, and I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I didn't appreciate it, and it was really hard to stay calm when at one point I had a nurse say that she had a ton of patients, and she was leaving on vacation for 3 days and didn't have time to call me back. And there's I think 4 nurses in that unit, and none of them had bothered to call me back. And I had to call and follow up every 2 days for 2 weeks. And that was difficult. That was really frustrating. It was hard because I had come from a hospital that was easy to get a hold of. Everyone in the department was so supportive. I even emailed my dietitian at my old hospital because she's so encouraging and helpful and like really wants me to, you know, be the most successful person that I can be with or without this surgery. And coming from that to nurses that didn't know my name, I know that I'm a new patient, but didn't bother to read my patient file, didn't read my doctor's notes, didn't read my new surgeon's notes, was so frustrating. So it got to the point when the patient advocate talked to them, they finally got back to me like, okay, it looks like everything's fine, but you need an EKG and you need a sleep study. And I explained to them my insurance doesn't require another sleep study or EKG, both have been performed, and they're like, well, we need it for our records. And so I had to do the whole process all over again. I had to finally call my new surgeon, explain to them what the nurses were requesting, and he had to tell them that I had already had it done. And this was like, I could have at this point been submitted to insurance. It was almost a full month. Finally, they got everything. It took them another 2 weeks to submit me to insurance. And that was probably, it was so frustrating because, again, at my previous hospital, the day that everything was ready, they submitted it. And they called me every 2 days to follow up. Not that I feel that it's necessary for my nurses or the program to call me every 2 days, but they were invested in keeping me in the loop. And when I found out that none of them had bothered to, again, because someone was on vacation, no one had bothered to submit me to insurance after everything had been sitting there for 2 full weeks, was again frustrating. So I had to ask them every single day for that next week to submit it. They submitted it on Thursday. And they were like, well, we're not sure that's going to get approved because you don't have an EKG. And I explained to them, I've had 2 EKGs this year. My insurance does not require anything more. I just need a Optum Center of Excellence. And finally I submitted on Thursday. I was approved Friday. That's how, I don't want to be petty, but they were wrong. They were wrong about everything. I was right, and they need to get their life together. That's how I feel about it. But during this process, I was really close to quitting. I was really close to being like, maybe this is a sign I shouldn't have the surgery. This entire program, you know, really makes me second guess whether this is right for me. And I explained that to them. And the hardest thing for me was I finally told the nurse that was in charge of my patient file. I said, I'm having a hard time wanting to go through with this program and have my surgery through here because I don't trust that you're going to advocate for me in my healthcare. And her response was so frustrating. She said, I have so many patients and not every single one is a priority. And I was so let down by that. And I did let the patient advocate know what she said. The patient advocate obviously was not okay with that and spoke to the department. But when I was approved, I was like, I'm not gonna let this shitty nurse and her shitty staff deny everything that I've worked for almost a full year. So when I was approved, I literally called them. Okay, so I was approved on Friday. I called them on Monday, and lo and behold, they had not received my insurance paperwork and were not willing to call my insurance to verify that I had been approved. So I had to email my insurance approval to them for them to schedule me for surgery. Luckily, they had an opening exactly 2 weeks out from the next day, so I started my liquid diet immediately. And oh, this liquid diet. When I say that, like, sorry, I gotta take a drink. When I say that this liquid diet is like one of the hardest things I've ever done, like, I pushed out a 9-pound, 13-ounce baby. And it's still one of the hardest things I've ever done. Basically, for 2 full weeks, you have to have essentially liquids only. And the first week in the program, you're allowed to have 3 ounces of protein and half a cup of vegetables for your dinner, which is great. And for your liquids, you can have protein shakes, broth, sugar-free pudding, sugar-free jello, and a couple other things. But that's pretty much it. Your goal is to hit 80 grams of protein and drink as much water, I think at least 64 ounces a day. The first few days were probably some of the hardest. It was hard to work. I couldn't think. I was tired. The cravings and the hunger were just like absolutely insane. It was not, I mean, no one on this planet would ever enjoy a liquid diet. Not because it's just hard, but because your whole body is like, excuse me? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, no. And, yeah, my body was like, girl, okay, like, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know, I have to do this. But it was not easy. But I got through it. I did cheat a couple times, I'm gonna be honest now. I did cheat, and I just made sure that if I did like eat something and I felt like I absolutely had to. Also, I'm diabetic, and there were times that my blood sugar at 1 was like 43, which is really low for me because I tend to run in the 300s. And I would just try not to eat like badly. Like, we had B-dubs, but I only had like wings that were like not fried or whatever. And I just tried to stay away from carbs because essentially what the diet does is it shrinks your liver, it puts your body in ketosis, and so it makes the liver more accessible to like move up to access your stomach, which is what VSG is. It's removing a large portion of your stomach and the hormonal part and creating a pouch for your fluids and your food to go through. So I lost 13 pounds in 2 weeks. It was rough, but I got through it. The last couple days were hard, but I think I was just so excited for the surgery and so nervous, and like my mind was going through all these things that even the liquid diet wasn't like the most pressing thing on my mind. I think I was just ready to get to surgery. So surgery day came. It was Tuesday the 21st. Today is the, oh shit, what day is it? I've been at home for over 2 weeks, so like I don't know what day it is. Today is Tuesday, September 3rd. So yes, oh, it's been exactly 2 weeks today. Yes, today is my 2-week anniversary of having surgery. I'm so happy. I'm so happy I had the surgery, in the sense that like it's freaking over. The fear and the nervousness and the excitement and all the hoops you have to jump through for insurance It's done. I'm so glad. Disclaimer, it was very, very difficult, and the recovery has been like absolutely insane. Today is like the first day I felt even close to normal. And I was in a lot of pain, especially the first like 5 or 6 days. I was regretting it so hard. I can't take you guys through what happened. I'll try not to make this video like too long, but I feel like I have so much to catch up on with you guys. So like just take it. Just take my love, take my personal info, just do it. I'll put my social security number up after this. Yeah, so I had surgery Tuesday, the 21st of August 2019, for people looking at this later on, I guess. And the day of surgery, I didn't have anything to eat or drink or any liquids prior to or after midnight. And I had to check in at the hospital at 9:30. I made sure that I had my daughter that day and was able to take her to school, because like this is such a mom thing, and I did my makeup purposefully because I don't want to like get emotional. But my biggest fear about surgery was the idea of going through this to better my life and then some complications happening or something happening during surgery and me leaving my daughter alone in this world. And like, that sounds so morbid, but girl, I have anxiety, you know, like it was gonna happen. My mind was gonna think of that no matter what. And luckily I have a really cool therapist that like talks me through a lot of this. This is, I mean, everyone has that fear sometimes. It's surgery. There's always, you know, that chance of something happening. So my crazy ass, I literally upped my insurance by $60,000, my life insurance for my family. And I wrote letters to everyone, and I literally was just, I was kind of distraught leading up to it. That was my biggest fear. I almost canceled a couple times that last week actually prior, because I was so worried about just not making it through surgery. Obviously in retrospect, I was like, girl, like it's not that bad. But I've been in like some of these like gastric sleeve groups or weight loss like surgery groups, and you do get the people on there that are like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Like I have a horrible quality of life. We did have one that died. That was, oh girl. Oh, also, I burp a lot, like constantly after surgery, so just get used to it. There was one that died, and it was only like 3 weeks ago, so of course like she had gotten a skin eating disease directly after surgery, and they believe that it was a cause of her sutures getting infected and then like eating her organs. And her mom posted in our group, and of course that was like, I feel so bad for that family, and that's probably the closest I came to canceling. I remember picking up the phone and about to call one of the shitty nurses at the hospital, but I was like, you know what? Just because it happened doesn't mean it's going to happen to you. And while it's a really tragic event for that person, you know, you don't have to let fear define your life. And I think that like for me, my biggest turning point in my life in the last year and a half has been, things can be scary, you can be afraid of them, you may not know what's going to be on the other side, but that's the fucking point. That's the point of life. Like, you never know what's going to happen. Your life could be over tomorrow. Do you want to spend it at home being afraid and never enjoying any of it, or never trying, or never succeeding in your dreams because you're afraid of what could or could not happen? No. And I realized that like I don't want that for myself. I spent most of my 20s so depressed, so full of doubt and sadness and hate for myself, and I let the trauma of my childhood and some other things define who I was, even if I didn't want to admit it. And I knew that if I didn't go through with the surgery, this was me letting myself down, and I had to be my biggest hero. So like, not to be dramatic, but it was a really scary thing for me to go through with this, because your life is going to change immediately and forever. So just the idea of like not knowing who you are on the other side, it's just scary. But I did it, and I showed up to the hospital terrified. My partner Nikki was there with me, and I really appreciate her being there. You know, it's in those times that you see like who's there for you. And I was really thankful that she was there at the hospital, and my amazing friend Bree was there also. They kept me laughing literally all the way until I was wheeled into the surgery room. And it was actually, you know, the pre-op and waiting was not that bad. You know, they gave me a little bit of happy juice and I felt good after that. I wasn't scared. So I'm thankful for that. I remember getting on the table and them asking me a couple questions, and I remember the last thing I said was, they asked me when I was doing this, and like, god damn it, I said I wasn't gonna cry, but like, I just feel like my daughter, she's 6.5, I don't feel like she's gotten the best mom, and because I haven't loved myself enough, and I've been so afraid of doing things, and I've struggled with pain and my size and not being able to do everything that I could when I was more fit, and I told whoever's looking down at me, I was just like, I remember looking up at all the lights, and I said, you know, I want to take my daughter hiking in the spring because she's never seen a waterfall. Bitch, I'm sorry. But like, that's like my biggest dream. It's not dumb stuff, and sorry, it's not just like attention or being thin or, you know, living for smaller clothes. Those things are amazing, but for me, it's been about loving myself enough to change, and loving my family and the people around me, and knowing that they need me to be stronger for myself and invest in myself so that I can be the best for them. And I want to give my daughter everything I never had, and everything that she deserves. So in the spring, I'm taking her hiking, and we're gonna go see lots of stuff. It's gonna be like this little road trip, just me and her, and that's been like something I've focused on. Every time I wanted to cancel surgery, every time I felt like giving up, during this pre-op diet, during going to school and all the doctor's appointments and going to work, I've been like, you know, I want to give her everything, and I want to enjoy those things with her. So, because she's got a lot of energy. So, yeah, I'm glad I did it. I came out of surgery, and I guess I was only speaking Spanish. They told me that like I only spoke Spanish until they wheeled me into my actual room. After you have surgery, they have like they have another special after surgery they have another special unit for you where they essentially just check on you, make sure you're fine and you're coming down and you're fully awake before they wheel you up to your room where you can rest and your family can see you. And I was in there for a little bit, and I guess I only spoke Spanish, which concerned them a little bit. They did not know that I was bilingual. I did not know. I don't remember that. That's what I was told. So, I got to my room. Nikki and her mom were there. Thanks, Kim, for coming. And I said hello, and then I went right back to sleep. When I woke up, I started walking immediately. I walked my ass off. I didn't want to stay in the hospital more than one day. I didn't want to be one of those patients that was stuck. I think sometimes you can get stuck in pain mode and like, this is awful, and I really wanted to overcome that early. So the hospital wasn't the worst part. I walked, I took my pain meds, Dilaudid was heaven, and I slept as much as I could in between. And it worked out pretty well. When I was released from the hospital, I could not bend whatsoever. I was still full of gas pain, and that's pretty normal for surgery. And Nikki picked me up and took me home. The real struggle was post-op care at home. I had to sleep in a recliner. Just 2 nights ago, I finally was able to start sleeping in my bed. So that's how long it was before I was able to get myself in and out of a bed. It's a really strange feeling having your stomach operated on. My whole insides felt like a loose bag of jelly. I don't know how else to put that. That's disgusting, but it is what it is, girl. It was rough. I have five sutures, one really big indentation, and that's where they had to cut through the muscle and pull my stomach out. That really freaked me out. I was not aware of that prior to surgery. It's literally like a little like dimple in my stomach. I can show you guys if you want. I mean, if you really want me to. I'm just gonna show you. Yeah, I'll show you guys. So this is, I'll try not to show my boobs, sorry. This is that weird bump. Oh god, here. Yeah, this is that indention that I have. All the others are pretty good already. This one still hurts a little bit, but other than that, it's pretty normal. And they said within a month or two, it should go back to normal. Like it's essentially where like the stitches are stitching your muscle back together, and when that heals, it'll pop out. So I'm glad. And I had to wear a binder. The biggest thing with surgery is like exhaustion and pain management. I was on hydrocodone. I really didn't like the hydrocodone. It messes with you in a way that like I was not prepared. It actually made me like really depressed, really emotional. And I didn't realize how bad until I stopped taking it, withdrew, and had to taper off. And obviously like post-op drug addiction is real, so I had to be really careful with that because literally every one of my family is addicted to drugs, and I was not about to let something like this steer me in the wrong direction. So I was really careful with the dosage and timing, and never took more, never took it too often, and tried to space out like when I needed it. And when I could finally go like 10 or 12 hours without needing it and I could sleep, that's when I started just like not taking it. But I walk every few hours. Getting my water and protein in the first few days were hard. Your body just like rejects it. I didn't throw up, but it was painful. It's painful. It feels like anything gets stuck right here. And I've heard that's pretty normal post-op, so I'm not too worried about it. It's gotten a lot better. I can drink, like, I keep these little suckers on deck. This is a Premier Protein. I keep these on deck, and I can get one down if I'm like literally focusing on it only. I can get one down in 2 hours, which is good. So for the last 2 weeks, I've only been doing liquids. I've only been doing water, and you can't have a straw, and protein drinks. And then I've had like really thin soups, like no chunks, nothing. I just tried my first puree today. I'm on purees. My body like completely rejected it, like threw it up, pain. I had to sleep. I literally slept for 3 hours. Like it wore me out so much. And again, that's normal. Like I think I had a little bit too much, and my body was just not ready. So it's been going okay. I remember like day 4, I like was in my little like gastric sleeve group, and I was like, I regret this. It's the worst thing ever. And now I'm 14 days out, and I'm starting to feel like, okay, you're gonna be okay. As long as I like keep up with my protein and my water, I feel okay. Little things wear me out, and I just have to like pace myself. And I get that's why you don't go back to work immediately, because I drove my daughter to Walmart, and I live 4 minutes away from Walmart. Like that's how close I live. And we walked to Walmart to get her a toy and walked back to the car, and like I needed a nap after. Like I was wrecked. I was wrecked. I barely made it home, and yeah, that was rough. And that was like post-op day 10, so it wasn't like immediately after. I can do a lot more now. Like today I was able to like sweep and mop, and I did a load of laundry, and like I didn't want to like fall in my bed and die, so that was good. It's every day gets a little bit better, and I feel a little bit like closer to normal. The first few days, like I was a freaking mess. I remember, so last week I was just like, I was off the hydrocodone. I was still feeling pain. I couldn't sleep in my bed. I couldn't do anything. I was home alone, and my friend was supposed to come over, but I was like such a wreck. I felt so bad, and I told her I just wanted to take a nap. And my partner Nikki, bless her heart, told my friend to come over anyways, and she like showed up, and I had been like crying to Nikki for like 30 minutes about like how I can't believe I did this to myself and all this junk. And my friend like showed up, and I was like I lost it. I just started bawling. I was like, I can't sleep in a bed. I can't sleep in a recliner. I'm not wearing pants. I wasn't wearing pants. I felt so bad for her. Like I was at my lowest in life. But like she and I hung out. We like did a little facial, and I felt so much better after. I'm mostly through the pain. I can sleep on my side. It kind of feels a little bit weird, but it's okay now. Like I can't sleep on my stomach, I think, for another 2 to 3 weeks, and I'm a stomach sleeper, so that's been rough. So that's where I'm at now. I'm 2 weeks post-op, and I'll be on the PRAs for 2 more weeks, and then I'll be able to like graduate to soft foods, which are mostly normal, but like you introduce food slowly, and it's only like really soft stuff. You can't have like crackers. I think you can have some crackers as long as they like can be like easily crushed. But that's where I am. I had the surgery. I feel good about it. I don't know, maybe tomorrow I'll be a wreck again. This Thursday, today's Tuesday, on Thursday I'll see my surgeon for my 2-week follow-up, and as long as he gives me the okay, I can start back at work, which literally, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to get back to work, to get back to school, to get back to my life, because as much as you think it would be great to have 2 weeks off of life, I just felt so alone, so sick of watching TV and just being here. Oh God, I'm so over it. And like, just ready to start back with life. So hopefully on Friday I'll be back at work and annoying everyone in my life in the lovely way that I do. But yeah, I feel pretty good. That's where life has been for me, and I'm excited to see where this goes. Oh, also, as of today, I've lost 50.5 pounds for my highest weight, so I'm really excited about that. Post-op, I lost 5 something the first week, and then I lost 11 pounds last week. So I'm, moving right along with where my doctor or my surgeon wants me to be with everything. I'm actually not as like focused on losing the weight as I thought I would be. I think when you're in that stage of just healing, it's more of like, I just want to feel okay. I'm excited to like eat normal foods and live life. So I'll keep you guys updated. I'll probably see you in another 2 months. I'm not even going to guarantee that I'm going to be around to like update you guys every week, because you guys know I'm a freaking mess. It's never going to happen. So there's that. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening to this super long ramble. I actually had fun sitting down and talking to you guys. If you have any questions, just let me know, and I can put in my next video, or I can just, just email me, text me, whatever. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.